You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
You've had a long day at work, and you can't wait to just get home, take off your shoes, plop yourself down in your favorite chair, and relax. You walk up to your tranquil residential home and your neatly manicured lawn in your quiet suburban neighborhood, put the key in the lock, open the door, and... Yes, the pets have gone wild! What were you thinking? Welcome to the show about everything you always wanted to know about exotic pets. Where to get them, what to feed them, and how to care for them. You'll even find out why some people live with a monkey. Now, here's your host, exotic pet expert and author Bob Tart. Hey, Bob, what were you thinking?
Hi, I'm Bob Tart, author of the books Enslaved by Ducks and Fall Weather, and I'm here with Ethan Teerling. And I am sitting in front of an enclosure full of button quail. Now, these are birds I really don't know much of anything about, although I've seen them before at local botanical garden, and I've always been fascinated by them because they're very active and they're colorful and they're just darn cute, aren't they?
They really are. Very unique bird. I never planned on getting into button quail, and I was more interested in something, a utility bird or something that I could release into the area like bobwhite and build up populations. But it was winter and there's not a whole lot you can raise, and I saw that these were available from a local breeder, and I decided to try it out, at least for the educational purposes.
Did you see them first and you liked the way they looked, or what was the attraction to you?
Well, just from looking at this lady's website.
Oh, okay.
And remembering from having seen them at the botanical gardens.
They're very photogenic. They love the camera.
They do.
They absolutely do. So what did you start with? Did you get just a couple, or did you get...
I said I wanted an unrelated breeding pair. And I went to her house, and we looked through some different birds. And I wanted her advice on... something that she wasn't focusing on, just in case I started selling babies. I didn't want to be a major competitor. She said she was going into the splashes, the white birds with just a few colored feathers. And so I got golden cinnamon male and a silver female. And she said she was very curious to know what kind of babies they would have. And so I thought that sounded fun, because I love it. Mystery eggs when you don't know what's going to come out.
Yeah. We should probably describe these birds a little bit, because I bet a lot of people have no idea what they look like. I would say they're probably, would you say about the size of a goose egg?
I've never seen a goose egg, but yeah, I would think
Okay.
so. I would say, like, if you took a chicken egg and put some feathers on it, you
Yeah.
got about it, or about the size of a fist, I'll tell some people as well.
Uh-huh.
But the most exciting part about their size is they're babies, because they are about the size of bumblebees.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw the babies, because that's exactly what my wife said when we were at Meyer Garden, that they look like walking bumblebees.
And they look just like a baby chicken when they're born, proportionally. It's like you're seeing a miniature chicken. So people are often quite surprised. Usually that small of a bird is going to be naked and helpless and whatnot, but they just hit the ground running.
Oh, they do?
They do.
Okay, so they are fully feathered when they're born?
Fully fuzzed.
Fully
Yep.
fuzzed, okay. Yeah, like chicks, yeah. Well, what I like about them is they definitely have the classic quail look to them.
They do, even though I don't believe they're actually true quail and more closely related to pheasants.
Oh, okay, all right. And I have also seen these called Chinese Painted Quail, but names are notoriously suspect when it comes to poultry, because we have African brown geese, and those are also occasionally called Chinese geese. And so I don't know if either of those really tells us much about the origin. And, Muscovies, I don't think they're from Moscow. Right?
I never thought about that connection.
No.
That's funny.
So,
South American, yeah.
Yeah. So do we know where the button quail, the Chinese painted quail, are they actually Chinese in origin?
Jody McDonald, who is one of the main breeders in the U.S. and California, she was talking about on the online forum of actually having gone to China, to the mountains, to see these quail. So I'm quite sure they do come from China.
Okay, all right. And you have a great pen. It's really nice. I wasn't sure how people would keep these, but it looks to me like is this made from window screens?
Yes, the traditional thing is to keep them in maybe aquariums and then move them into those big Walmart plastic tubs.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of that.
With screen tops, but that's just not that attractive to me. I mean...
It'd be stuffy, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I mean, there's air circulation here. I would think it's much more natural. You got nice lighting. And David, did you build this?
No, this was here before I got here.
I was able to put this up by myself, actually, just with duct tape. It took about 5 minutes.
Okay, because...
It just took me a while to come across the idea. We had 27 extra window screens sitting here in the basement. And
it does make the perfect pen, though. And explain about the...
Oh, the boinking.
Boinking, yeah.
They have a startle reflex where they'll shoot straight up into the air.
And they can hurt themselves. A number of
feet and scalp themselves, knock themselves out. I had one escape in my bedroom, and because I had the stippled ceiling, it flew up into one of those points, got a little spot of blood on its head.
Oh, I bet.
And then I had to separate it from its mate because, of course, they're going to be pecking at anything bright and red.
Right. And David that we were just talking to, that's Ethan's brother, and the reason I asked about the pen is because Ethan and David just showed me several other pens outside, and David, you are the builder and architect of both of those?
Yeah, we share some ideas, and they're all works in progress, and we come up with always come up with better ways of getting doors, egress and exit from the pens. And
well, his latest idea was trying to find a way not to cut a hole in the barn, and saying he could get ducks to walk out of our window, which I thought.
Yeah. Is that what the ramp is for?
Yes.
And a ladder on the outside. I have ducks that can climb ladders.
I was going to say, I want to see a ladder climbing duck when you get that perfected. Because besides the button quail, you also showed me some really gorgeous hens, some goslings, and you said those are Sebastopols?
Yes.
And those are some of the friendliest geese I've ever seen in my life. And
they are.
Yeah. And so you've got a lot going on here, and also some great gardens. So this looks like a really good enclosure. Is this, what would you say this is? Is it about maybe 4 feet by 4 feet?
No, it's almost, the screens are almost 5 feet long,
okay,
3 feet high. So I've got about almost 25 square feet in here.
Okay, and now what do we feed the button quail?
I buy game bird starter.
Okay.
And making sure it doesn't have the antibiotics in it.
Yeah, I have heard that before, that you have to be careful with a lot of feed because, in fact, you have to go out of your way, don't you, to get feed that doesn't have antibiotics. Is that right?
Well, I've got a feed mill nearby, and when I say I have button quail, they'll say, well, then you want this for this and this reason. So they've treated me well.
Okay.
Other people have had a lot more trouble, and even the lady who sold me my breeding pairs, she will ship people game bird crumbles by the pound in case they're stuck.
So you don't have to buy 50 pounds of it, because I struggle carrying 50-pound bags of feed around our property, and it's...
And if you have one pair of quail, that could go bad by the time you get to the bottom.
Yeah. I should mention, we're here in Ada, Michigan, and I live in Lowell, so Ethan's practically a neighbor of mine, so I have to ask you, what feed mill are you going to?
Lowell.
Oh, okay, Blue Ribbon.
Yes.
Okay, good, great. Okay, yeah, that's where I go too. Have you ever gone to the one in
Caledonia?
No, I don't know. I don't know why I'm getting brain block. Anyway, I will get Freeport. Freeport, there's a nice one there too.
No, I didn't know there was one there.
Yeah, there's a nice one too. Yeah.
A third one within driving distance.
Yeah,
excellent.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. I'm seeing a little activity here with the button quail.
They'll do that a lot more when they're young. They just kind of jump up a few inches and flap their wings. It'll be contagious sometimes, and then you get aviary full of bouncing quail. They'll only go up about a foot or two and just testing out their wings.
Yeah, I could see, you were telling me that after a hard day of work, this is a great spot just to sit in and watch the quail, huh?
I am a social worker and working with difficult teenagers that sometimes have to be restrained for their and our safety. And so that can get pretty stressful. And I get home around 11:30 at night, and I'll just sit on the basement steps in front of this cage, and they're so quiet, they're so peaceful, and I just am able to slowly unwind and get ready for bed.
Yeah,
they're great therapy.
I love the little sounds they make. There's some kind of calming about that, and I like their activity. It's kind of hard to describe because they'll be quiet a little bit in terms of movement, and then suddenly you'll see something happen, and they're just really interesting to watch. You have quite a community here. As far as housing, I was reading online that generally you don't keep two males together, and you were telling me that is particularly true in a smaller cage. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I'm able to get away with having I don't know how many are in here, a dozen. But they're siblings, so they established pecking order early, and they're doing well.
And
if I were to have a smaller cage, I would try to stick to just
you probably have fights, wouldn't you?
Male and female. I think they can do two males or just two females, but with the two males, they might get along really well for a couple months, and all of a sudden just go at each other one day. It's a higher risk with the males.
One thing that's so nice about this enclosure you have also is that there's a lot of places for them to hide, and I think that's good. And you have some greenery there, and I've noticed we keep a lot of ducks, and a lot of times in the spring, males fighting is a problem. But then again, since we have a large area with lots of places to hide, I think that keeps the competition down a little bit, and I'm wondering if that's maybe contributing a little bit here. Unless it's the age, are these pretty young birds?
They're mature.
Oh, they are mature.
They've been laying eggs for over a month now.
Oh, they have. You mean the offspring are already laying eggs?
Well, I have a few different batches in here.
Okay.
There's some that are teenagers, kind of in their juvenile plumage, and there are others that I probably hatched out in March.
Okay. All right. What is the lifespan of a button quail?
They say for females it's 2 to 4, males 3 to 5. The constant egg laying is harder on the females and shortens their lives. And I don't know why they lay so many eggs. It's surprising. It seems like they were bred to, because most wild birds, will just lay a few clutches and they're done.
Right, but these they're laying eggs all the time?
Yeah, a lot of my hens, I'll get an egg a day. And we've tried things like putting them in vinegar, and then you can just slough off the shell, and after they're hard boiled, and put them in salads and surprise or upset your dinner guests.
Wow! So how do they taste?
I can't taste really a difference between chicken eggs, and with our duck eggs too, it all tastes about the same to me.
Okay, I had noticed
subtle differences maybe.
I had noticed with duck eggs, I think the taste depends on what they're eating.
Oh, very much so. And since all my birds eat pretty much the same thing, with the quail get the higher protein feed, of course, that I don't notice much difference in taste. I haven't eaten a lot of my bird eggs from outside recently because they've been setting a lot, and I've got a lot of babies. But I imagine they're going to be pretty gamey.
Yeah.
Due to the free range.
Now I wonder what we could say about the pet potential of these birds, because this is kind of sort of an aviary setting you have almost.
Yes, and they're not great if you want a bird that will sit on your hand. They have no perching ability. They're not going to sit on your finger. They're very difficult to tame up to the point of sitting into your hand. Maybe eating out of your hand is the most I would have time to train them to do. So for me, they're just a visual treat.
Now, do you think if you were, say, raising only a couple of them, and you really spent a lot of time hand raising them, would they be tamer than these birds, or do you think maybe that has nothing to do with it?
They would. Of course, the more time you spend with them, the tamer they're going to be. But also getting to know different breeders, having different strains, because they reproduce so quickly, people can breed for different temperaments.
Oh.
And some have done so.
Oh,
So
okay.
you communicate with those breeders and you find out who has done that. Because so many breeders are breeding for that next exciting color mutation.
Right.
Or other qualities, but it's mainly focused on color.
We'll be right back with more of my interview with Ethan Teerling after these incessant messages from our sponsor.
What Were You Thinking will be right back after Bob gets the ducks out of his living room. Don't go away.
Pets are part of the family, and when traveling with your dog, there's only one magazine to include when packing your doggy's duffel bag, and that's Fido Friendly, the travel and lifestyle magazine for you and your dog. Each bi-monthly issue includes hotel, city, and state reviews, and doggy destinations to explore with your furry companion. Fido Friendly magazine can be found at Borders, Barnes & Noble, PetSmart, pet boutiques, and Fido Friendly hotels nationwide. Or you can go online to subscribe at www.fidofriendly.com. So get traveling with your pet today and leave no dog behind. And remember, Fido Friendly's the only magazine dedicated to the travel lifestyle of man's best friend, and the one magazine your dog will thank you for.
Ready to take a walk? Not just you, but your whole family. It's the 2008 Whisker Walk, Sunday, June 8th from 9 to 4 at the Lancaster Fairground in Lancaster, Massachusetts. Pet owners and animal lovers walk to lend a paw to benefit the animal shelters and pet charities they love. Come see exhibits, demonstrations, educational programs, special attractions, product giveaways, entertainment, auctions, raffles, food, fun, and things for adults and kids to see, do, and buy, both human and pet-related. Whisker Walk 2008, a fun day for everyone. For more information, log on to whiskerwalk.org.
Greetings, human. What planet am I on?
Welcome to Pet Planet. Here's a copy of Pet Planet Magazine, Florida's most informative and fun pet resource magazine. It features heartwarming stories and informative articles from local and national pet experts.
Excellent.
Pet Planet Magazine offers Operation Planet Rescue, helping rescued pets find new homes. And it's available at 500 locations in South and Central Florida and 24/7 on the internet at petplanetmagazine.com. If you're out and about with your pet, you may be featured in Paparazzi, candid pictures of you and your pet. For up-to-date pet-friendly events, activities, and pet-related services and products, Pet Planet Magazine is your final destination.
I shall take this magazine home with me.
Back to your home planet?
No, to my condo in Boca.
Pet Planet Magazine. Check them out at www.petplanetmagazine.com or 352-394-8578. It's out of this world.
When you're looking to add a pet into your life, consider adopting a homeless animal from your local shelter or rescue group. Whether you want a kitten, puppy, or a more mature pet, a purebred or a one-of-a-kind mixed breed, even a rabbit or hamster, your shelter has the best selection of animals anywhere, all screened for good health and behavior. PetLifeRadio.com presents Take Me Home with your host, Susan Daffron. Join us each week as we showcase wonderful pets, tell stories, and even throw some pet education into the mix. So get ready to find out why the pet adoption option can be a great way to add a furry companion into your life. Take Me Home every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com. Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Okay, ducks are in the pond, rabbits in his hutch, and monkeys... Ow! In my car! Oh, okay, well, I go check my insurance policy. We'll turn you back over to Bob.
Hi, welcome back to What Were You Thinking? And my interview with Ethan Teerling, and he is talking about his button quail. Are there classifications like there are with hens, pretty distinct classifications for color varieties?
There are. And on the online forums, they get into some pretty heated arguments about different variations and who gets to choose the name for it. And it's an international forum, so there's a lot of opinions. But out of what seems to be just a lot of brown birds, there's blue-faced, golden pearl, cinnamon pearl, normal type, and probably a few others.
Now, with what you call the normal type, do you imagine that would more resemble the ancestral bird?
Original wild.
Original
type,
wild.
yes.
And right now we're looking at, I thought you told me there was a couple cinnamons in here, is that right? Or
I think she's a golden pearl right there. The darker gold with mottled with black. I don't know how you describe that. She's at the feeder right now. And in the back there's more of the tawny variety of the same.
And what about requirements as far as a temperature for them?
I've read they can handle down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, but I like to keep a nice temperature gradient with a heat lamp so they can choose their own.
Okay, because we're here in a basement right now, so I'm imagining...
about the 60s in here, so
Okay.
a little cool. So I do like a little supplemental heat because they seem to be most comfortable at room temperature, so that's what I try to provide.
Yeah, because in the winter it probably does get a little bit cool down here.
But I've noticed the few times if they get out and I have to catch one, they seem to be well fed. They're pretty squishy little birds.
Yeah.
They've got a good amount of fat on them, good coat of feathers, and at night they will all back up to each other and they'll be in a tight little cluster. And they do that for security, almost more than warmth, because they seem to do that at any temperature. Because I started out with the button quail in my room 2 floors above us where it is considerably warmer.
Now, are you selling these birds online? I mean, is that what your goal is?
I am. I haven't shipped yet. I don't know how much of a hassle that is, and I'm hearing that people are having some trouble with the post office. And I would hate to stick my birds into a box and then find out that they didn't get to their destination until 5 days later. So I would hope to sell to...
Probably local people?
Just locally.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I need to print up some flyers and maybe including some information on their care and put those at pet stores and feed mills.
Oh, I see a...
Very bright,
a bright green
beetle scurrying across.
Yeah, I wonder how long that's going to last in the pen. Oh, yeah, they're interested.
I brought in all these rotting logs and bark for them to play on, which they love.
Now, these birds are excellent scavengers, aren't they?
They sure seem to be. I read somewhere that they don't scratch, but I've seen them scratch around. And I'll put in their dust bath and try to make different mounds out of the wood shavings. They'll have it all pretty much flattened by the next day.
I have a friend named April, and she has an indoor aviary, and mostly she has parakeets and cockatiels, and she likes to keep a couple button quail just on the floor of the cage, and I guess of course she's a very good...
There goes the beetle.
Oh, there goes the beetle. But she said that they tend to find a lot of food out of just spilled seed.
They're supposed to be aviary custodians.
Oh, I like
for
that.
People. Yeah, I've heard that said a lot. Of course, it's hard to control their diet that way because they love finch seed because it's like candy for them, but it's not nutritious enough for them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the pellets are a much better choice.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to... I'm trying to convert one of my parrots to pellets, and she came to us eating pellets, and then suddenly, after we had her about a year, she decided pellets were for throwing. But now I found a brand she seems to like, so that's always better. The vet told me that the thing about seeds is that a bird just picks the seeds it wants to eat, like you were saying. But with pellets, every single pellet is theoretically identical, at least in terms of nutrition, to any other pellet. So yeah, that's definitely a good thing for most birds. Now, you were telling me about that you are going to be, was it the moderator of a waterfowl forum, or what was that now?
Oh, yes.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
Because I'd like people to check out the forum and to...
On my website, freewebs.com/Teerling, I have links to all of my favorite sites, and one of them is the Waterfowl Forum.
Okay, could you repeat your website again and spell it? Because I want to make sure people see see your photos, and you got a great website.
www.freewebs.com/Teerling, Teerling. And
we'll put a link up to that on the PetLifeRadio.com website, so people will be able to see it there.
And the Waterfowl Forum I like because it connected me with a local breeder of some wonderful Muscovies and Sebastopol geese and Americanas, and I now have all 3 breeds and species from her. And I've gotten a lot of good advice from her, and she's into gardening as well. And it's a site where you can post pictures, which I think is really helpful.
Yeah, I like that too. What's the name of the forum or the website?
The Waterfowl Place.
It's just called, is it thewaterfowlplace.com?
It's like groups.msn.com/thewaterfowl place.
All right, so it's an MSN group.
But whenever I had trouble finding it in the beginning, I would just put in the Waterfowl Place in any browser, any search engine, and I would find it quite quickly.
And are you going to be a moderator, is that right? Or what is your title?
I'm manager. She's an assistant manager now. So I check daily for people who want to join the group and screen them out because they have to put in a little message and watch for spammers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we haven't had any inappropriate content, thankfully. We have got a great group of people in there right now.
Now, you were showing me your ducks and hens, and David, what do you have there?
I was sign language trying to get them. Oh,
mealworms.
Mealworms. That's a good idea too. Throw some mealworms.
Oh
in.
Yeah, let's see if we can get
I have about 5 colonies of mealworms. I started out with a shipment of New York worms, 1,000 mealworms, and I just put them in game bird starter. And I've got a little kind of Tupperware craft shelving unit, really shallow shelves since the beetle forms can't fly, and that way I can get them some live protein.
So okay. Are you breeding the mealworms?
I am.
Oh, you are?
Well, I want to set them up for the bluebirds as well.
No, I think that's great because quite often in the summer, my wife helps raise orphan songbirds, and we're just always sending out for buying mealworms. And
well,
so
let me send you home with some because I'm loaded.
Oh, okay. We don't need any now, but I'll have to learn from you how to raise them because that would be a really good thing to do.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah,
I found some good information. I had tried it before and it didn't work, but I'm doing well now. When I was in college, actually, I had the job of taking care of all of the animals in the laboratory, including the hundreds of rats and mice, but also snakes, turtles, frogs, and raising mealworms and crickets.
Wow. So
I got some good experience there.
Had you been interested in animals before that point, or is that what interested you in the animals, or how did that work?
Ever since I was a kid, and I grew up on a farm, and I love raising different kinds of birds and animals and learning about them, and I can just sit forever and study their behavior.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Muscovies. I did see a youngster. Do you have any adult Muscovies?
I don't. I was given some hatching eggs early in the season that she wasn't sure if any would be fertile, and I got one chick from that batch, and then she had another chick that hatched out later and was all by itself, and I put it in with some baby chickens that were the same size. So I just have 2 young Muscovies right now.
So you have not had the male Muscovy personality inflicted on you yet.
But I've read about it in your books, Bob.
So I look forward to hearing about that when they get a little older. Yeah. I love them. I absolutely love them. But I noticed that you showed me a domesticated mallard. Was that a Rowan or Rowan? The guy that you said likes to chase.
Well, I've gone to feathersite.com and looked at all the pictures there to try to figure out what I was given because my brother-in-law just got me started in birds last August with a few ducklings in a pail. And it's all kind of gone from there in just a matter of months.
Now, was that Petrie, the one that, the chasing
yes,
duck?
He's
the attack duck?
Yes. And the neighborhood kids love him, though. And he'll even chase a soccer ball across the yard.
Oh, he will?
Yeah, both drakes will.
Oh. Do you have any video of that? That would be something great to put on your website.
But my brother's always walking out with the video camera. I'm sure we'll get some
I've got
eventually.
some good video of many things we probably could put on there.
Yeah, that'd be good. That would be very good. Any other birds you want to talk about? You've got just gorgeous birds. You're free-ranging your hens.
Yes, and I want to maybe have some chicken tractors later on, and they're going farther into the woods all the time, and that's making me nervous because we do have raccoon and fox, but the only trouble I've had so far is from a neighborhood dog. I like to connect with other breeders, pet owners in the area, and swap birds, and by raising the same birds, get to know them better, building relationships that way. I have a lot of fun with that. So I find out what other people are raising locally, and I try them out. So I don't really know what will be next. It'll be determined on who I meet.
And I did hear ominously a mention of goats.
I grew up with goats, and I would love to have access to raw milk, or even if we just had pygmy goats, just for fun.
Yeah. Well, they are nice. They're fun. Maybe nice isn't the right word for a goat, but I do like them. I like them. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and I have to say, I'm really impressed by your facilities because you've got really nice, clean, well-constructed, David, areas for your birds. And it's just, everything's very meticulous, and they're extremely healthy and happy looking. So I congratulate you on that. So
it's a bit of work, but I enjoy it.
All right. Well, Ethan, thanks so much for joining us on What Were You Thinking? Well, that wraps up What Were You Thinking for another week. Thanks so much for joining us. If you would like to be a guest on our show, well, it's pretty easy. Just send an email to bob@petliferadio.com. And we would love to have you on and talk about your exotic pet. And remember, an exotic pet is anything other than a dog or a cat. So if you have a parrot or a rat or a rock dove or a scorpion and you want to be on the show, just send an email to bob@petliferadio.com. And we also want to do a show about people's favorite pet books. I thought of another pet book I like a lot. It is Providence of a Sparrow by Chris Chester. And it's just a terrific book about a pet sparrow named Bee. And that's really one of my favorite bird books. And a couple weeks ago I mentioned a book I like a lot called The Good Good Pig by Cy Montgomery, and that's about a pet pig. So please just email us, bob@petliferadio.com, and just tell us what your favorite pet book might be. So that wraps up this week of What Were You Thinking, or this installment, since we're not doing a show every week. Thanks so much to our producers, and thanks to you for listening to the show. Bye-bye.
Thinking about buying a monkey? How about a ferret or a skunk? Then check out the show that will answer the burning questions. Where do you get them? What do you feed them? How do you take care of them? And most of all, what were you thinking? With exotic pet expert and author Bob Tart. Every week on demand from PetLifeRadio.com.